What's up, guys? Back for another weekly update. I hope you all had a great week, but most importantly, I hope you guys are just as excited for the winter meetings as I am. They start next week. I want to say they start Monday and end Thursday. I could be off by a day or two, but I do know they start next week. They're taking place in Vegas, so hopefully we come out of there with some good news for the Dodgers and we get this going because it's been, we're not too far in, but it's been a little slow for us. So let's get started with the things that have happened. Not much in the last week. However, one of the bigger things outside of the players that happened this week that I'm very happy about is Dave Roberts. The Dodgers agreed to a 4-year contract for him to manage the club, which means he will be our manager through 2022. I'm beyond excited about that. I know there's a lot of fans that aren't, and there's a lot of fans that are. I get it. I understand why people don't like him. I don't think you're ever going to find a manager that everybody loves. There's always going to be something they do that upsets people. I know people are very upset that we've lost back-to-back World Series. I get it. I'm upset too. I don't put all the blame on Roberts. I think he does deserve some blame, but I think he's a pretty good manager. I think he's done a lot with this team, and every manager goes through it. I didn't know this until it happened this year when we lost our second one, but Tommy Lasorda lost the first 2 World Series he was in too. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not comparing the two. Roberts will never be Tommy Lasorda. Nobody can ever be Tommy Lasorda, but nobody succeeds their first time out either. It takes a couple tries. So I'm really happy he's back. Excited to see what he can do with the team for the next 4 years. And speaking of the team, I've got on my Puig shirt. It's his birthday, so happy birthday to our wild horse, Yasiel Puig. But he's kind of one of the guys that Roberts has done great with. I really think Roberts helped turn things around for Puig, just being an all-around better player and just kind of adjusting to everything very differently. There's a lot of talks about him right now being traded to Cleveland for a pitcher, whether that's Kluber or Bauer. I don't know. We'll get into that in a little bit. I want whatever's best with the team. I've learned to not get attached with players, so if they got to trade him, they got to trade him. However, if he does get traded, I will miss the guy because I like him a lot. But I just want to give him his birthday shout out with my shirt. Got this from Bobble Boys on Instagram, so you can check them out for that. But other than that, back to kind of what's been going on. We can jump into Puig later. We can always talk about it in the comments too. But Cingrani agreed to a 1-year, $2.65 million contract guaranteed. So he will be coming back. He was hurt a lot this season, which definitely hurt the bullpen because he was a big part, I think, of our bullpen kind of run at the end of 2017. We did pick him up around the trade deadline in 2017. I want to say he came from the Reds, if I remember correctly. But I hope he's healthy. I hope he's ready to go. I think he had shoulder injuries a lot last season. I believe it was shoulder in 2018. But we need our bullpen to step it up. To me, that's our biggest issue right now that we have to take care of is who's going to be our arms. So hope he comes back healthy and can really help out that bullpen. The Dodgers tendered contracts to all 9 of their arbitration-eligible players, and those guys are Puig, Seager, Wood, Peterson, Kike, Taylor, Baez, Josh Fields, and Yimi Garcia. It doesn't necessarily mean these guys are going to stay on the team. Obviously, nobody wants Seager to go anywhere. But it just means that they're going to keep him on for another year, give him that contract, arbitration eligible. They don't want to have to obviously go to arbitration court, all that good stuff. You can always look that up at mlbglossary.com. Fun stuff to learn about. But the fact that they're arbitration eligible just shows how young they are in their contracts, and that's team control, and that's always great to have. So we've got a pretty good team, pretty young team, and I just hope we keep finding a way to build off of it. A couple of those guys on that list could go, and I would be totally fine, but we'll leave that up for the team. The more interesting stuff I think that happened this week was the back and forth about Bryce Harper and whether or not Magic Johnson was actually in Vegas talking to him. So on Monday, a report came out that Magic Johnson was in Vegas meeting with Harper. Well, Tuesday morning, Magic came out and said I haven't met Harper, or I haven't seen Harper. I didn't go to Vegas. Last time I saw him was 2 years ago, when the Nationals came to LA, something like that he had mentioned. So Magic is completely denying it, even though there were names like, I think someone said Stan Kasten, Dave Roberts, Friedman, someone apparently said they saw all these people out there. Personally, I try not to listen too much to what media says until it's confirmed. However, I do think that Magic Johnson might be lying here. The Dodgers are kind of known for keeping their stuff really quiet when it comes to free agents and things like that, and I do believe that they don't want anyone knowing their plans and what they're doing moving forward. So I don't know if I believe Magic. I don't think he has to tell the truth, not when it comes to stuff like this, not when it's the biggest free agent on the market and you don't want other teams knowing your plan. But right now, Harper's the biggest talk when it comes to kind of Dodger-related news, I feel like. So that one's really interesting to keep an eye on. There's plenty of other teams still in the race. We don't necessarily know who, but it sounds like there's still other teams kind of competing for him. The Nationals owner, Mark Lerner, said that they gave Harper their best offer at 10-year, $300 million contract on the last day of the season. Harper and Boris turned it down. He obviously wanted to listen to other free agents, see what he could get. A lot of people believe he's going to get more than $300 million to begin with. However, the Nationals don't believe, or they actually said they can't go more than that. They're not going to give him more than $300 million. That was their absolute best offer that they could give him. So it looks like the Nationals are out of the Harper race, which is one less team the Dodgers have to compete with if they're going after them. When the season ended, and even prior to that, knowing Harper was going to be a free agent, I wasn't 100% on board. But the way things went in the World Series and even just kind of the whole playoffs outside of the NLDS, I kind of feel like we need some offensive spark. However, his numbers aren't the greatest in the postseason. I do think he plays with a lot of pressure on him. I think if he comes to LA and is surrounded by the team we have, it becomes a little bit different, not as much pressure. Maybe he could succeed a little bit more. I don't know. New environment could end up being worse. You never know with a player, especially a superstar. Most of the time, you hope they're going to just take it over and go to the new team, continue doing what they were doing. And a superstar tends to do that, but you just never, ever know. I'm back and forth. However, at this point, I'm all aboard on Harper. I would not be upset. This team needs to spend money. The goal for 2018 was stay under the luxury tax. They did. We still made it to the World Series, but we need to win. So I'm for them signing Harper. I'm for them signing whoever. Screw the luxury tax. I want a world championship. If Harper means we've got to trade some guys, I'm sorry, but I got to see the win. I need a championship. Haven't seen one in my lifetime yet, so that's all I care about at this point. I love our guys, and it would for sure hurt to see guys like Puig go to bring in somebody like that. But I'm all about the name on the front, not the name on the back. I know that'll piss some people off. Sorry, I'm not trying to make anyone mad, but that's just my own personal belief on it. And the team that they're kind of looking at for Puig right now is the Indians. Indians need outfield. Not sure why Puig's name keeps popping up because he's a free agent after next year, unless they truly believe that they have a shot in 2019 to run with Puig and then re-sign him. I don't know what's going on there, but the talks are with Kluber and Bauer. Kind of talked about that a little bit last week. So the reason why I'm bringing it up again is not to repeat it, but their number 3 starter this last year, right? Yeah, I think it was their number 3, Carlos Carrasco. He ended up signing a contract extension with the Indians. The Indians had made a comment that if they get Carrasco to extend his contract, they will not trade him, which means a lot of experts are now believing Kluber and Bauer are going to be out much sooner, that they're going to be traded a lot quicker than, I mean, not a lot quicker, but there's more pressure now to get them gone because they're wanting to cut payroll on their pitchers a little bit. Trevor Bauer said he wouldn't sign a extension with the Indians. He wants to test the free agent market. He doesn't think the team, he's been on record saying he doesn't think the team will pay him what he wants. So the Indians are trying to build a younger team, a little bit more controllable, but I think because of the division they're in, they don't feel like they need that much pitching to win the division, and you can always trade for that down the line in the season. So we might end up with Kluber, we might end up with Bauer, we might not end up with either, but Puig's name is constantly popping up in that one because they need outfield, possibly Verdugo as well, and or even Jock. So it's going to get interesting. I think we'll get a lot more news on that next week. The other guy the Dodgers are still in on is JT Realmuto. He's a catcher. He's a big one. We've talked about him a little bit. However, I think it was Jim Bowden on Twitter had announced today that the Dodgers are still in pursuit. However, they're not as aggressive as the other teams. There are about 3 or 4 teams that aren't as aggressive and about 5 or 6 that are pushing a lot more aggressive to get Realmuto. I don't think it'll happen because the package seems really high for what they want, and I don't think the Dodgers are willing to do that when we have the catching depth we have in the farm system. So, again, it's just another one that kind of we'll have to wait and see. Another trade and signing that didn't happen with the Dodgers, but does affect the Dodgers because it is in the NL West. Goldschmidt was traded to the Cardinals. This one, I think I'm in the minority when I feel this way. I think this might be a little bit more dangerous for the Dodgers than him staying in the NL West. They will only see the Cardinals twice during the regular season versus however many times. I think it's like 8 times or 7 times that they would see the Diamondbacks throughout the season. So that's a lot of people's arguments, is we don't have to see him in the NL West. However, the Diamondbacks are in rebuild mode, so my opinion is I would have rather kept Goldschmidt on the rebuilding D-backs who aren't going to be a threat than go to the Cardinals, and I only say that because the Cardinals scare the hell out of me in the playoffs, and I don't want to have to end up seeing Goldschmidt be the one that comes back and bites us in the playoffs. Granted, NL Central is a hard division. I understand the Cardinals have to get there first, but they held on till the very end this last season. I think down to the last 2 or 3 games, they were in a playoff spot or had a chance. So if their team's healthy, I think some people are giving the Cubs a little too much credit. We kind of saw them starting to this season. I don't want to say decline, but they're just not the super team they were in 2016. It seems like every season they've gotten a little bit, I don't want to say worse, but they're not really, I think, living up to what everyone thought they were going to be, this dynasty team with all the young guys they had. So I think the Cardinals could give them a run for their money. You never know. So that's kind of my opinion on it. But D-backs are in full rebuild mode, trying to get rid of Greinke. They got rid of Goldschmidt. So I think they're going to be at the bottom with, most of the teams. I think the Rockies right now are the only team that with the way their roster is set will give us a run for our money. But other than that, I think the rest of the NL West, unless they do some big things, aren't going to be much of a threat to us. Another one was Patrick Corbin. He was with the Diamondbacks. He killed us in 2018. Even though if you look back, we ended up getting, I think, 3 out of the 4 wins we faced him. But I think over the 4 games we faced him, we scored like 2 runs or something. And he would go like 7 or 8 innings. So in my mind, that's a big win for us. Because I feel like one offensive player isn't going to help a team do great if the rest of them's falling apart. One pitcher can easily steal a win from you, and I think Corbin would have done some of that from us, taken some wins on our way through the playoff race, or to the playoff race, hopefully. So I'm kind of glad he's gone. He's with the Nationals. He's still in the NL. We'll still have to face him. He may not be anywhere near as good moving forward in his career. 2018 could have been a career year for him. But I think it's a good thing that he's out of the NL West because we don't want those wins taken from us from bad teams just because they have a really good pitcher on the mound for 1 game. And the last thing I wanted to bring up, no trade rumors, anything like that, just kind of a random thing going on with the Dodgers and Dodger Stadium, is they had mentioned building that gondola. The gondola thing that they talked about doing from Union Station to Dodger Stadium and back would take 5,000 fans per hour, would be able to get them from Union Station to Dodger Stadium and the Dodger Stadium back. Well, today they were able to get 1 step closer in the process, so they hope that it's done, I think, by, I read 2022. So we'll see. I don't know. But right now, that's all that's going on. Gondola's not that entertaining or really big deal, but just wanted to fill you guys in on that. Other than that, I got nothing else. Hope you guys have a great next week, and let's do this.